Frankie, where can people find you?
Twitter, Frankie Kazarian, and Instagram, Frankie Kazarian Official. Those are my two main go-tos. Pretty active on both of those. And you can find me AEW Wrestling every Wednesday.
That's cool.
Still putting on shows. I think AEW is doing really good at adjusting to this empty arena format and the way that we have, some of the talent around the ring. It gives it a lot of atmosphere, and I think it's been, a little glimmer of light in a kind of a dark time, and we're, everyone's still busting their ass and doing our best to put on shows.
I still think, and just hear me out real quick, I still think when Tyson goes to give the belt, you and the other two guys should go in, do a run and stomp the shit out of him without telling anybody.
Right.
Tony Khan confronts you in the back. You get into, we're SCU. We do what the fuck we want to do, and everybody. And now you've set something up with SCU versus Tyson.
Beautiful.
I would, doing anything with Mike Tyson would be, I'm a huge Tyson mark, so if I was ever in any type of storyline with him, it would certainly be as an ally and not an adversary. Because Iron Mike is my man. He is, honest to God, he's my favorite boxer of all time. Yeah. He was like what got me into the sport as a young guy, and just he's the best in my opinion. And like I said, even at 53 years old, he looks sensational, and he would still smash a lot of people. But I'm looking forward to him being there, and it's going to be cool. It's just to see that dynamic of Mike in our environment,
Bro, did you ever?
I want to say this. Maybe you came to the tail end of it, but the rise of Mike Tyson. I was at an age. I think I was like 20, 21, 22. I was young, right? But Tyson, he'd be on pay-per-view. All right, and the pay-per-views were not that expensive back then, but like the bars would always have the pay-per-views. Mm-hmm. Tyson would just would sell out, but like bars. Like you would just go there. He would fight like every 2-3 months. It seemed like, and just like every 2-3 months, you go like he'd be basically just fighting some job guy, but people were just like would go insane over this guy. He was like one of the bigger superstars of my generation growing up. It's like because you just like the guy was just like an icon,
Right. My dad and I watched boxing together, and he would watch the fights on HBO, and he started telling me, he's like, God, this guy Mike Tyson, like he's unbelievable. And the first fight I remember him actually watching I was a really young kid was when he beat Trevor Berbick. Right. When he knocked him out so bad, Berbick kept trying to get up, and
stumbling.
We used to call that the Berbick shuffle, because it's like it's funny, but it's not, because he was so concussed or knocked out that he couldn't even stand. There's never been a fighter that did the damage.
Here's the other thing.
He fought a lot.
But here was the other thing. Here was the other thing that was very special about him, because at that time I was really into boxing. Mm-hmm. So you had this guy that was, if you were a boxer, he was trained by the great Cus D'Amato, right? Yep. So here he is. He's going out there, much smaller than the other boxers, okay, in height and size.
Shorter,
Right. He was very ferocious. And then his interviews, he was very like, hey, he had a lisp. And he's saying, we're like, wow, what a dichotomy. This guy's an assassin in the ring. But when he talks like, such a soft-spoken guy. And he was starting to hit like the TV show circuit. And he had this baby face. And everybody's like, oh, you're the youngest champion. So you had this young, shy, charismatic beast who now you saw him slowly decline into biting a guy's ear and punching another guy out in the street and hanging out with Robin Gibbons and being arrested for fucking now, you know what I'm saying? And now his promos were like, come here, suck my dick, I'll eat your children, I'll make you kiss me, and it was like just, he just became an humongous over the top personality, you know what I'm saying?
Funny story, my junior or senior in high school, I did a book report. I had to do a book report on someone, and I did a book report on Mike Tyson. There's a book called like Fire and Fury, the Mike Tyson story. Yes, right. I think the book was published in the 80s, so I did a book report, and you also had to submit a piece of art, and I did a really good line drawing of Mike Tyson, and I got a good grade, and they put my drawing up in the office, right? And somebody complained. They thought Mike Tyson was too controversial of a figure for my drawing to be in the office, so they took it down. And it was like, and this is like the mid '90s, and I was like, come on, you assholes! Like, whatever. But he's always been my favorite, man. I'm psyched that he's part of AEW.
When I remember,
cool, bro.
When he lost to Douglas, I was only 8 years old. but I was already aware of him, and I remember I watched that fight with my dad on a tape. Someone taped it for him off HBO. Yep. And but I was a teenager when his comeback started, so I watched all the comeback fights on pay-per-view, and even against the Frank Brunos and the Bruce Seldons up until his loss to Holyfield. And even then, I still followed him when he was fighting Galata and Lennox, of course. So
that's
a great book too, by the way.
Fight. Still to this
Bro,
day,
I was in Japan. I was in Japan when that happened, and that fight was in Japan. And I remember I had to wrestle that day, and I was so pissed because I could see the fucking stadium, the arena from my hotel.
Yeah.
That's an amazing fight still. That's an amazing fight. Even though you know the outcome, that's a great fight to watch, It
is, yeah. There's a little controversy in that, too. And Mike knocks him down earlier in the fight.
And
the ringside guys counting, it looks like he gets to 10, but they didn't stop the fight.
Yeah.
It's weird.